So when it came to the questions you had about digital resources in the classroom, obviously one of the most important questions had to do with how to integrate technology into your classroom. And so, for example, how do you integrate iPads, smartboards, laptops for more than just rewarding the student who has done something right, or for just presenting videos, or for learning games? So you wanted to know a little bit more about other things that can be done with these devices. And this is basically the topic for the rest of the course. We're really going to see many different things that can be done with all these types of technologies. Regarding the smartboard in particular, one of our classmates, Michelle, shared a website from the Smart Company, which is entitled the Smart Exchange, and it really provides a lot of resources for you to use in your classroom. And you can search by subject, you can search by grade, you can search by file type, and you can basically see some ideas on how to use that smartboard in other ways that are not just presenting a PowerPoint or a video. So look specifically for the categories of manipulatives which really take advantage of the smartboard. Remember that the salient features of the smartboard are that you can manipulate the computer screen with your fingers. So you can drag and drop, you can move objects around. In your traditional blackboard, you can draw things, but you cannot move them around except if you erase it from one place and rewrite it or redraw it in another one. Here on the smartboard, you have the opportunity to create objects on the screen, and you can share, you can show relationships, you can show comparisons and differences between items that are really problematic for students to learn otherwise. And so look for different demonstrations of things that are here that allow you to use drag and drop functionality, and also moving functionality, resizing easily, so that you can really teach concepts that are important for your students. So you wanted to learn about how to use technology to differentiate learning. You really want to use technology in ways that really improve learning. And you were curious about the minimum age to introduce independent use on the technology. And precisely regarding that issue about being able to allow your younger students to use the iPad independently, I want to encourage you to search and also to consult your IT departments, because there may be apps available out there that you can install on the iPads and allow you to control what your students will be using when you give them that iPad to work independently. So there's, for example, an app that allows you to lock in the iPad to just the one app that you want them to use. So this is worth exploring with your IT guys. You also talked about issues regarding technology integration. So for example, what were the detrimental effects of using technology maybe at too early an age, maybe because it causes distractions and those kinds of things. You inquired about negative experiences, about apprehension to the use of technology, and also issues related to things like classroom management when you're bringing technology in for students to use. You also had questions about the use of e-textbooks, and so, for example, you had concerns about their use in the development of literacy skills. You also wondered about benefits and drawbacks. And then regarding e-portfolios, you were inquiring about the use of e-portfolios for the specific grade level that you teach, who can view e-portfolios, ways to track e-portfolio use, effectiveness of this as an actual tool for improving learning, others people's experiences with ePortfolio, and also the age to introduce ePortfolio for your students. There was also a question about ways to ensure that e-portfolios are a reflection of your knowledge and skills. And in that regard, I can suggest that the way to ensure this is that you actually use some kind of framework that organizes the knowledge and skills that you know in a way that is recognized in the professional community as important things to know and understand when you're, for example, trying to become a teacher. So if you want to create a portfolio that showcases your knowledge and skills as a teacher, you can use something like the New York State Teaching Standards as a framework. Of course, for this particular program, you're going to have an organizing framework that you have to fulfill. But then if you wanted to share it with a wider audience, maybe you can take that same portfolio, reorganize it using the teaching standards. But then if you are talking about portfolios for your kids, you may as well refer to the learning standards for the particular subject matter and grade level, and then organize the portfolios of the kids using those standards so that the artifacts that are in there, the items that you collect, showcase the knowledge and skills and attitudes that your students have developed in the area, in the particular grade level. I can also suggest that you refer to the electronicportfolios.org website. This is actually a website maintained by Dr. Helen Barrett, who is mentioned in the article about e-portfolios from Brown. And she has been studying e-portfolios in all different kinds of platforms throughout the ages, in different technologies. So she has all these resources on this website, publications, presentations, a lot of information that you can use to learn about more about e-portfolios. And in bringing session 1 to a closure, one of the quotes from the readings that you mentioned the most was a very important one. It's a better approach would be to start with good teaching practices and consider how technology can strengthen those practices. And this is from the Johnson article. And a few of you mentioned this particular quote, and I think that you did very well in identifying a very important thing to consider when you are trying to integrate technology into your teaching and learning.